Hello everyone, this is Nimish and today we're going to review the movie Pretham starring Jayasurya and Aju Varghese primarily. This movie is a mix of genres. It's a horror comedy of sorts and it is one of the most perfectly entertaining and written movies that I have watched in any industry for that matter because it serves exactly what it set out to serve. This movie has extremely fine performances, so let's begin with the acting. Aju Varghese shows his dynamic range in this movie. He's not only extraordinarily funny, which I keep mentioning in most of my reviews, he's really, really funny even when he's not delivering dialogues because he's actually being in the situation. He's actually enacting the whole portrayal of the character very perfectly. He goes completely into his role and he's outstanding. But in this movie, he shows a range of emotions, not only the comic timing, but he's also confused at times as to what's happening. He's scared at times when he sees some things, although in a comical way, but his performance is that of a genuinely scared person. He's confused when he meets Jayasurya for the first time. He wants to know what this kind of mentalist does and how he does that. Then the later part of the movie, he gets very serious. He gets very composed, very serious. He has these emotional eyes. He has this very, intriguing eyes, and he perfectly played the character. I was thoroughly impressed with Aju Varghese's performance because we usually see him in comic roles. And in movies like Welcome to Central Jail and a couple of other movies, he's completely wasted. I don't even know why they take him in such small roles or why he does it. Maybe it's friendship or anything, but he deserves such big, full-fledged roles because he was absolutely fantastic in this movie, and the range he showed, that he's not just a comedian, he can actually carry a whole film on his shoulders, is what's very, very impressive about him. This is my second movie of Jayasurya. Most people don't know that I've already reviewed Mumbai Police, so please go and check that out if you haven't already, because that's a recommendation that I keep getting. Although I've reviewed it, it's one of the first movies in the Malayalam film industry that I reviewed. So do check that out. So this is my second movie of Jayasurya, and over here he has a much bigger role than he had in Mumbai Police. And in this movie, he was again outstanding. He acts with his eyes. He acts with subtle expressions. He's probably one of the most natural actors I've seen in the industry, especially in the new age, in the new youngsters lot, because he completely focuses his performance on his face and his very, very subtle expressions. If you notice, he's playing the part of a mentalist whose job is to basically observe people and make interpretations and understand their body language. And the credit for this goes to two people. One, for Jayasurya, of course, for acting, because he just acts out. And if someone is doing this or if someone is playing with their hands down, his eyes move very slightly to that place, to down, and that is captured perfectly by the director, the cameraman. So both these people, the director and the actor, needs credit to capture the subtle nuances of acting that Jayasurya has portrayed in this movie. For those of you who didn't observe it, because it's a very entertaining movie, you don't really care about the acting, you want to enjoy the movie, which it is very enjoyable. If you get a chance to watch it again, do watch it for his very subtle expressions. And it's very difficult to capture subtle expressions. The camera has to be perfect, the moment has to be perfect, and the acting can't be so subtle that the camera can't capture it. Neither can it be overacting where you're actually moving your eyes so much that it looks like, oh god, he's faking it. So it has to be a perfect balance, which he did his part and the director did well in capturing it. So this was a really good performance. And what made it even more special, the performance for me, is that after watching the movie, I was randomly on YouTube and I saw Jayasurya imitating some of the, or doing a mimicry so-called, of some of the big actors like Mammootty, Mohanlal on a talk show, random talk show. It's a random video that I found, and that's when I came to know how he is in a personality wise, how he is like a normal person, because sometimes, if, as I always say about Fahad, that he's a very intense person and he plays that, he plays to his strengths on screen. So I was wondering if Jayasurya is also like that, and whether he's actually putting in that effort to act or he's actually being extremely natural and himself. But when I saw this video, I came to know that he's actually not like that in real life. He's actually a very calm, composed person. He's not the very smart, shrewd mentalist that he played in Pretham. So it's fantastic what he's done. Of course, his part is much smaller compared to the other three people. It gets important towards the end. He gets more screen space towards the end, but he did a great job. On the story front, this movie is extremely well written. It's not just a horror comedy for the sake of it. It also has some suspense, some mystery, some good twists and turns. And this movie is absolutely well written because it's uniquely written. As I also said in Mumbai Police, it's not about how they did it, but why. The why is important, and the why has to be different. It can't be something typical like, oh, she did this to me, he did that to me, so I want to take revenge. It has to be something unique. I mean, we've seen so many revenge kind of movies and murder mysteries, and we want to know what different can the movie, producers, directors, actors provide us. And Mumbai Police did that, because as I discussed in that review, the why, which is extremely suspenseful, and you can check that review out, is so different and unique. Similarly, in this movie, when you come to know about the twists and turns and the mystery is solved, you know that the why aspect of it is so unique. It's something I've not seen in cinemas before about whatever they show. I don't want to give spoilers because I don't like doing that in my reviews. So it's amazing that they've taken the effort to write it. They've not just left it as a comedy with a little horror element with no logic whatsoever, that it ends in a random way and it ends in a typical way, because normally when it comes to horror and comedy, they're most underrated genres. Horror people don't take seriously at all, so let's not even discuss that. And people often result in doing all kinds of cliches in horror writing, because who cares, who's going to watch it? There's a very small target audience. Producers don't care, directors don't care, so it's very difficult to craft a unique horror movie, especially in India. And the same with comedy. It takes the same cliched gags, the over the top comedy, the situational comedy, the same kind of humor. This is a horror comedy, so it was very easy for the movie to just get lost into some typical cliche after presenting it in a different style. And that's what is really impressive, that they did not fall in that trap. They respected the genre. You can clearly see the passion for both the horror and the comedy genre, and making a complete entertainer while not compromising on the logic of the writing. So this was outstanding. The location adds to the element. It's a character of its own. The seaside, the beautiful location of the resort, gives a completely refreshing and energetic look to the movie, which makes you want to keep watching, which makes you remain active, so to speak. Because when the locations are dull, gloomy, then you kind of get into the cliches of horror, cliches of anything else. So it's a good balance when they in terms of locations, and I think that they've done a fabulous job on that front also. So overall, this is a super duper entertaining movie. It has some good music, it has some good cinematography. Everything is as perfect as was supposed to be. So I'm going with 4 stars, because this movie is one of a kind horror comedy, and horror comedies are extremely difficult to make. It is supremely entertaining, and also I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's underrated, this movie, because I've not heard so many big reviews about it or so much great popularity that this movie has gained. And I think it deserves that, because it's hyper entertaining, it's super gripping, and it's extremely well written. So for those of you who have not yet watched Pretham, definitely watch Pretham, and I'm going with 4 stars. I hope you like this review. Like, comment, share, please do subscribe, and keep watching.